Narcissist, Seduction, Episode 20. Another week had passed. It was Saturday, and Ashleigh had explained that she would be going into the city with her daughter, for them both to have haircuts ahead of their holiday. She had managed to persuade Peter to remain at home with their son, and thus had said to Wynne that he could bump into her in town. That way, she could at least spend an hour with him ahead of her departure to Mexico. Wynne had been reluctant, since this would expose him to a meeting with Amelia, and this did not sit comfortably with him. Ashleigh had persuaded him that he had no need to be concerned, since they would be both meeting just as friends, and he would be introduced as such to Amelia. Besides, she had pointed out that he had to meet her at some point, and may as well get to know him as Mummy's friend, rather than a sudden introduction later down the line as her boyfriend. Wynne was buoyed by her reference to him as such, but remained cool in his response to Ashleigh. It was wonderful to hear her mention him in such terms, but he knew that such a situation was likely to be some way off. Not only that, there would be the not insignificant hurdle of her extraction from Peter. He doubted that he would let her go without a fight. Wynne walked along the pedestrianised section of the main shopping street, passing the various stores and weaving his way through the busy Saturday afternoon crowd. They had arranged to meet in the toy section of a department store, and to make it look like they were browsing when they happened to come across one another. Wynne took the lift up to the 4th floor and exited onto the brightly lit floor, the different coloured toys stretching in all directions as he wandered amidst the shelves. Ashleigh had sent him a message minutes earlier confirming that she was also on her way to the store. "Hello, Ian, how are you?" He turned, and there was Ashleigh behind him. She smiled, giving him the usual uplifting greeting that rippled across all of her face. Ian noticed that her usual curls had gone. Instead, her bobbed hair was straight. It suited her and framed her face, making her look dainty. "Oh, hello, how are you?" "I'm well, thanks. What are you doing in here?" "I'm looking for a present for my nephew," he replied, maintaining the agreed artifice. He looked down and saw a smaller version of Ashleigh looking up at him. He dropped his haunches. "And you must be Amelia," he said. "Yes, hello," she replied. "Are you looking for a toy?" asked Wynne. "No, I prefer books," she answered in a matter-of-fact fashion. "Well, books are good. I loved reading when I was your age. I still do. I bet you play an instrument, don't you?" Amelia nodded. "May I touch your hand?" asked Wynne. She nodded again. He took her small hand and turned it over, pretending to scrutinize her palm carefully. Said Wynne. "I would say that you play the flute." Amelia gave a noise of surprise and looked up at Ashleigh, who grinned. "How do you know that?" she asked. "Magic." "Wow." "Go and look at the books, Amelia. I'll be with you in a moment," said Ashleigh. Her daughter nodded and walked around one of the displays to the nearby book section. Ashleigh watched her daughter, and then dropped down to Wynne and quickly kissed him before standing up again. He followed suit. "Lovely girl," remarked Wynne. "She's my best friend." "What, at 8 years old?" "Absolutely she is. Of course she's mature for her age. She's far more interested in her hobbies than playing with toys. Brighter than most of the other kids she knows, just like I was when I was a child." "Does she not play out at home?" "Not really. There aren't any children who live nearby." Yes, I got that impression when I drove through your village. It looks like an older person's place." Ashleigh nodded. "That's why we chose it. Well, that's why he chose it. He said he didn't want his weekends disturbed by gangs of children charging around. Amelia has to behave like she's in church when he's in the house." "Well, that's no good. I loved nothing more than playing out when I was a kid. We had a big gang, and we used to build dens in the fields, cycle all around the town, and comb the beach for stuff. We played out all of the time. Out at 10 in the morning during the holidays and back for some lunch. We'd wolf down our grub and then straight out again until tea time. We'd be out in the evening until our father had to come and find us. He didn't mind, he was pleased we were outside and running around. Did you play out as a child then? I don't really remember, said Ashleigh, as if distracted by something. Wynne was about to make a comment, but she carried on talking. She sometimes plays with my neighbour's grandson when he visits. Of course, when I have tea with the other mums from school, she sees her school friends then. Still, it's not the same as running around outside and inventing games, is it? She seems happy enough, countered Ashleigh, as they walked through the displays to find her daughter engrossed in a book. In earshot of Amelia, Wynne confirmed that he too had some shopping to do, and by happy coincidence this included some stores that Ashleigh had to attend. They wandered from store to store, Ashleigh occasionally touching his arm or hand when she realised that Amelia was not looking. Wynne felt a heaviness about him, knowing that this was the last time he would see her for 10 days. He watched as she picked up clothing, inviting his opinion, and he stored each scene, each moment, ready to replay, in his mind's eye, sustenance for the barren period which loomed. Amelia was well behaved and inquisitive, showing no shyness of Wynne, as she talked to him when Ashleigh was changing some currency or busy at a till. He wondered how much of her father's behaviour towards Ashleigh she had witnessed and whether it had any effect on her. He found it odd, looking at the likeness of Ashleigh. It felt almost like he was plugging a gap from not having known her as a child. By mid-afternoon, they had completed their shopping, Wynne having carried Ashleigh's bags for her as they had roamed from shop to shop. They halted at the end of the pedestrianised street. "Well, we'd best head back. We don't want to leave Daddy for too long with Christopher, do we?" said Ashleigh to her daughter. Amelia shook her head in agreement. Wynne handed Ashleigh her bags and took back one of his own, which he had inadvertently passed to her. "Goodbye, then," he smiled, looking at Ashleigh. She gave him a look of longing, and half reached out with her hand before remembering herself and drawing it back. "Have a safe journey and a lovely holiday," he added. "Thank you," she answered, continuing to gaze at him with eyes filled with desire, yet tinged with upset. "Bye, Amelia," said Wynne. "Bye, Ian. See you again," she replied. Mother and daughter turned and walked away down the street. Wynne stood watching as their straightened brown hair bounced up and down as they strolled. He continued to watch until they were lost in the crowd, and then he turned and made his way to the car park and home. He wondered if he would ever see her again, or if that would be his last enduring image of her.